YouTube viewers. Today it's a whole different video for you. Basically, a lot of people ask me, well, where does the name for your channel come from? Blades, broadheads, and bullets. So let me explain a little bit. Basically, it's my hobbies. And one of the main hobbies that I've had all my life since I was young was knives. I always liked knives, collected knives, not collected like per se to make money, but I just, I always carried a knife. To me, a knife is a very useful tool to have, and you should always have one in your pocket. Whether you use it to cut something, whether you use it to pry something, which you shouldn't do, but a screwdriver, whatever, a knife is a very useful tool to have on you. And so I definitely have carried a knife my entire life. And in doing that, I wound up collecting a lot of little knives. Not per se, not expensive knives, but just knives that I liked, probably used them for quite a few years before sort of retiring them and picking up another one. So anyway, I thought it'd be a kind of fun video to show you basically all of these knives. So let's take a look at them and enjoy, hopefully. Okay, this is one of my original carry knives, one of the first things that I used to actually carry. Unfortunately, this isn't the actual one. The one I used to have was the Fisherman model, and on the back side of it, there was actually a fish. But as you can see on the back side of this one, there's a corkscrew. So this one is a knife that I gave to my wife way back, probably before we were married, so that she could have her own Swiss Army knife. And she likes wine, so she got the corkscrew one. And of course it has the scissors and ice pick, or toothpick, tweezers, all that stuff. This is all original. And if we take a look here on the blade, get the blade opened up. I think you can see here that it says right there, that's the original Victorinox, and on the back, official Swiss Army thing. So this is an original one. Like I said, it's almost identical to the one I had. The one that I used to carry didn't have this corkscrew, and what it had was it was sort of like it had measurements. It was a hook degorger. A hook degorger, fish scaler on the side of it, and it actually had a ruler on it. It was marked off. But this is one of the first ones that I've ever had or carried, was the original Swiss Army knife. Well, it appears I was wrong. Here is my original Swiss Army knife, the Fisherman. There's the fish on it. Okay, still in beautiful shape. I think I have replaced the tweezers and the toothpick over the years. But this one here, so I was wrong also. On the back, in place of that corkscrew, it has a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, but I do know that somewhere in here is that, here we go, the fish degorger, hook degorger ruler, okay, in inches and metric in millimeters, with the fish scaler here. And and of course then it has scissors and everything else like that kind of thing on there. But yeah, this is an original one too now, and I've had this one many years. You can see Victorinox like there, just like the other one, official Swiss. This one you could see has been sharpened quite a bit. It probably has lost a little bit of its length on the thing, but this was the first knife that I would carry with me all the time, because it just had everything you needed on the knife. Still got the original little clip there, keyring clip, but yeah, beautiful shape. It's got a few pitting marks and stuff like that, but it's still the sides are still good. Everything's still really good about the knife. So there you go, my original Swiss Army Fisherman knife. Now, this is the knife that started it all for me. This is my first carry knife. I started carrying this back when I lived in the falls, in Niagara Falls, and of course everybody was carrying knives and stuff like that. And this is the knife. This is a buck 110 Hunter, or excuse me, buck 110. This knife has been, as you can see, the blade sort of lost a little bit of its contour because it's been sharpened so many times. But the thing is, this is the second blade that's been on this knife. I sent this back to Buck when the blade started to get a little worn and it was starting to have some problems with it. And the reason I know it came back same is it's pretty unusual. Look at the handle on this side, a very dark colored rosewood, and this one's a light color. The only one I've ever seen like that. So I've owned this knife for I don't know how many years, close to 50 some years or so, and it's been sharpened so many times. And the funny thing is, this, when I sent it back to Buck, if you've ever handled a buck knife when it's brand new, literally I don't think there's anything sharper in the world, not even a razor blade. They can sharpen these knives so they're just so sharp. But it was replaced, I think they replaced the blade, sharpened, came back beautiful, and years later, after owning my own company and hiring someone, I hired a guy named Joel Getty, who Joel's father was Joe Getty. Joe Getty was responsible for these 110s, and he is the guy that probably worked on this knife back when I was a kid. So, and I'll show you a little bit more of Joe's work in a second here. But this is it. This is the original knife, buck 110. I carried with me everywhere. Started carrying this on tour. I would take this on the road. This was definitely the knife that I carried on my side all the time. Now this is the case that buck 110 came into. This is the original case like that. And but what's in here is the knife that I upgraded the buck 110 for. This knife right here is a Puma, and I don't know if I got the number on it. No, I can't see a number anywhere on there. It might be underneath the flip device here, okay? But this is a Puma, and the story on this knife is pretty interesting, is that my friend Danny Carter had this knife. I bought it, and I loved this knife, and I kept begging him for it, and eventually he decided to sell me this knife. And it's got the, it's got that quick opening device, because it wasn't, like today they put the little thing there and stuff like that, but this allowed you to open it. And back in the day I could snap that open pretty fast. I'm a little bit rusty on that now. But yeah, a Puma. There is a number there. I think that's the serial number. I don't know the model of this knife, but this is a beautiful knife. Again, it's been sharpened a lot, but it still held its blade. And the handle, you see this wear right here? It's worn right in here. from this buckle. Every time you snap this buckle shut, it kind of wore into that side right there. As you can see, the other side's perfect, but that side right there has got that wear in there. Not quite as classy as the buck, because, you know, rivets and stuff are sticking out on the thing, but it's just a nice knife, and I like the finish on it. I liked everything about this knife, and so therefore, like I said, I hounded him till he finally sold me this knife, and I then carried this knife all the time with me on the road. The buck was retired. This was the knife that I carried with me for years and years and years. This knife right here. Now this is a knife that I carried for many years. I sort of consider this my Digi-Design Pro Tool knife, because what happened is I was up in Palo Alto for training, and a couple of the people there all had these knives, these Kershaw, which is a Ken Onion design, okay, and it's a flipper. You flip it open like that, right? It's got the little spring thing, standard thing. A lot of these knives are made like that these days, but this guy Ken Onion is the guy that actually came up with this thing. And I carried this knife for years and years. When it got dirty, I did a couple of screws. You take these screws, take it apart, clean it all up, put it back together again. There's a little lock here too. I didn't much use the lock, but that would lock it so your blade wouldn't open on you. But yeah, that's my sort of Pro Tools knives, because all them guys at Digi-Design were carrying these knives, and I took me out and I got one of them right after that. I had to have one so I could be like those guys. Now, while that was a Kershaw, this is a Gerber, and you could see the same exact design. This guy Ken Onion, his designs, everybody used it at that point. It's got this thing. This one uses the actual frame that does that lock that you kind of press to release the lock. Okay, and this is just an all-metal knife here. And this knife, to be honest with you, this here sits on our table there, and this is used to open every UPS, FedEx package that comes in the door. In fact, you could still see the tape sitting on the knife from that. That's where this one sits. Nice knife, works really well. Would be great to carry, but it's related to my package opening knife. Now this knife is my current carrying knife. I've been carrying this knife for the last few years, and this here is a Boker Kalishnikov, and with a, I believe it's called a dagger blade. But this one is made in automatic now, and I believe it's Blade HQ, which it says there, is the company that turned these into fully automatic knives. And this, it comes in different style blades, but this is a black coated blade in a dagger style, and you'll see on the other side automatic Kalishnikov Boker like that. This was really, I think it was made for their, yeah, it's 10th anniversary of Blade HQ. This is the company that sells knives, and basically where I purchased this knife. And I've been carrying this one for years now. It's metal blade, metal handle, okay? Got the finger grips on there really nicely. And I think if I remember right, when you buy this, a Kalishnikov, this particular knife is called a Kalishnikov. They make them in a smaller version too, but when you buy this, it comes in a box shaped like an AK-47 magazine. Hence the name Kalishnikov, okay? Which was the inventor I think it's Boker Kalishnikov was the inventor of the AK-47. So anyway, this is my everyday carry knife. I've been using this for the last quite a few years now. I would say at least 5 years or so I've been carrying this knife. So you can see it's a little worn on the blue color's worn on it thing, but it's still a great knife, and again, fully automatic. Now here's another Swiss Army knife in my collection. This one here is, I believe it's a genuine Swiss Army 2. Yep, Victor Knox, Switzerland. Okay, and you know, it's got a few things on all, bottle opener, stuff like that. Now this knife holds a very special meaning because this was given to me by Ted Nugent. It was one of my bonuses at one point. This one here he gave us 2, but this one I got, he gave me for, I don't know, the end of some tour or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But this little small one here is a Swiss Army knife, Victor Knox 2. Okay? But Ted had his names put on them like that. So, yep, both of these knives were given to me by Ted personally at the end of the tours. Thank you, Ted. Now, this is a small Kershaw folding blade with a belt clip. And the funny story with this one is, it's actually got a thumb opening tab. Is I bought this knife because I was going to the UK and I was going to take this with me in my luggage, and just in case I got stopped and got it taken away, I didn't really want to lose a really good knife. So I bought this one sort of as a disposable knife. Has a bottle opener, sort of a screwdriver end, a little blade there, and it comes in very handy as a carry knife. And but the truth is, it was bought as a throwaway for that reason, like that. But it locks open, and it's a nice little knife. Now this knife here. Now this knife here is a Schrade Oldtimer, and this was given to me by my good friend Richard Bowman as a present once, and this is a beautiful knife. I've carried it a few times, but I don't want to lose this knife. So it's got 2 blades on it. Actually, no, it's got 3 blades on it. Pardon me. It's got 3 blades on it. I can tell you how many times I've used this knife. Beautiful knife, just beautiful workmanship. Genuine old timer, and you could just see the workmanship is just gorgeous on this knife. Made in the USA. Thank you, Richard. Okay, and this, again, was given to me by Richard Bowman. This is another Schrade knife. This is Uncle Henry. And like the other one, beautiful, beautiful construction on this knife. We won't make a mistake this time. There is 3 blades on this knife. Okay, but yeah, it's just a beautiful knife. So you get that 3rd one out. Look at that blades. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. Construction's great. Beautiful. They're not real here, but beautiful handle on the thing. And it sits in my safe with the other ones. Now, here's a beautiful buck number 692. Now this knife here I bought when I started deer hunting. I needed a knife that really I could skin a deer with, field dress the deer, skin it and everything like that. And this was it. So I bought this knife. It's got a great rubber handle here, even though this is brass. The handle's rubber, doesn't slip off your hand or nothing like that. And I've used this knife. I've basically have butchered a couple deer with this knife that I've taken over the years. And now recently, I've been using this knife field dressing, cleaning pork butts to make sausage. This is the knife that I actually use these days because it's just got a beautiful blade, and I keep it super sharp. And buck 692. Can you see that? There you go. Buck 692. Gorgeous buck knife. Fixed blade. Okay, now we have another fixed blade knife. This is a knife I've always admired in my younger days. This is a U.S. made Camis knife, made out of Camis. I believe it's in Camis, New York, that made these for the Marine Corps, I think this was. And it's got a little bit of rust. It had a chrome blade on this thing, leather handle, leather thing like that. And the story on this knife is kind of interesting. I've always admired these knives so much every time I've seen them. And so I was working for Ted Nugent out, and we were in playing the Nassau Coliseum in Nassau, Long Island. And there was a pawn shop across the street from the Coliseum. So during the break or whatever like that, dinner break, I went over there, looked around, and I bought this knife. And didn't carry it with me on the thing, but I brought it back home. And I used to use this knife a lot for camping. I take it out when I go camping and stuff like that. And it's still holding tight. It's too bad it's got a bit of rust through the chrome there like that on it. But beautiful, beautiful U.S. workmanship. Holds together. It's like a rock, this knife. Beautiful knife. And speaking of fixed blade knives, this is it. This is the knife that Joe Getty, who used to work for Buck and sharpened my Buck 110, made for me out of a file. As you can see, there's the marks from the file, or what is on the file. Here's the other side of that file. And what a beautiful knife. I mean, just look at this workmanship that he's done on here. And I tried to get Joe. I wanted him to actually put his initials on the knife, and he tried, but I guess he didn't do it. I'm looking at it now. I can't see anything. But yeah, it's just gorgeous. Joe Getty is still alive. He's good. What a craftsman he is. I mean, this is what he did in his home workshop. He made this knife for him. Beautiful knife. I mean, just weighs got the. I mean, it's just got that blood groove in there. God, it's just a beautiful, beautiful knife. Everything about it. And the pommel, I mean, it's just a gorgeous knife. I was always going to put a display thing for it on the wall, and I haven't done it. I still have the original sheath he gave me, piece of cardboard here. This is the original thing. Looks like a cigarette box, I think is what it is. But that's how I keep it stored. Thank you, Mr. Getty. I really appreciate this knife. Now this one's got an interesting history. This is a CRKT. I used to have a couple of those CRKT kiss knives. Keep it simple, stupid, they call them. They were just kind of like a half knife. I had them. I loved them. They were great. I'd carry them all the time. I lost one. When I went and bought the second one, I wanted it. I said, Jesus, if I spend a little more money, I get free shipping or something like that. So I bought this one. And this is a beast of a knife. I mean, this is just, again, CRKT really makes some beautiful stuff. Okay, and this thing's got a beautiful blade on the thing, as you could see it. And you could see this knife's brand new. I mean, I literally don't use this knife. It just sits in my garage in case I need to use the thing. Okay, has the same release thing there. Okay, this I think is the lock. Yeah, that's I think when you lock it. Yeah, you can lock it open, and you can't get it. You can't close it now at that point. Even if you release this thing, it won't close. So this makes it a lock, which really makes it solid. A solid knife. Great finger grip on the thing. These guys just know how to make knives. You can see their clip even putting on with 3 screws. Just a beautiful piece of workmanship. I don't know what it's called. Oh, it's called Crawford Casper. There you have it. And I don't use it, but I had to have it. And of course, what knife collection wouldn't be complete without a Leatherman? Now, this wasn't the first one I bought. Actually, I bought that other one, which was a buck multi-tool. But this here is a Leatherman super tool. And after owning the other one, I really wanted a genuine Leatherman. So I bought this one, and of course, like Leatherman, the quality is just amazing. The pliers are just outstanding. As you could see, they grip down. You could pull a hair out with those pliers, the way they grab. Knife, file, all the accessories on the thing. Leatherman super tool. Got the case for it too. And this usually just sits in my car. Hardly ever used. Knife is virtually brand new. And it goes back in the case and sits in the car. Okay, this is my first multi-tool. I did not buy a Leatherman. I thought they were really good, and then you see I did eventually buy a Leatherman. But this is the first one I bought because I really love buck knives. And when Buck came out with this, they call this the Buck tool. I just had to have this thing because it's just a great tool. So you can even see it shows you what it's got on here. A couple of screwdrivers, can opener, sort of saw. This side, flat blade screwdrivers, and a knife. And the beauty on this one here, or the thing that's different, the Leatherman, it opens like this. This does not open like this. This flips over and over like that. And that's how it opens up. Okay, and then you could see pliers again, beautiful, wire cutters in there. Just a great knife, and or multi-tool. And you can see here, if I open up this, let me go flip it back around to, first close it, so I don't use it too much. So if I was going to use this knife right here with the serrated edge, pull it out, flip it around, you got a great handle like the standard multi-tool would have. And to put it back in, okay, there's a little tension release there that you press and allows you then to fold back the blade. And the other cool thing on the blades, instead of having that little thing there, they got these little things you could pull them up with right here. So you can see there's one of the small Phillips screwdrivers. Interesting too, it's like a half screwdriver. Same with the larger one too. It's a half a screwdriver. You see that? Yeah, just a cool multi-tool. Definitely a cool multi-tool. Works kind of well. And I keep this this multi-tool is in my car at all times, actually. That's where this one actually lives at this point. All right. Let me get it all back together again. And there you go. Buck Knife's buck tool. Lives in a sheath in my car. I didn't tell you that. Okay, now we get to some of the stranger knives in my collection. This one here is called a safety sheath outdoor knife, Waltco. This is made in USA. This here was given to me by my Uncle Frank Lorendi. And as you can see, it's pretty old. It's a fishing knife because it's got the scaler on here, or descaler on there. A nice little blade on the thing. I should really clean this knife up. But yeah, my Uncle Frank Lorendi, who was really the fisherman, gave me this knife one day. Just said, "Here, you want this?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I want this." So yeah, it's a pretty unique knife. Safety sheath, it's called. Waltco safety sheath. Folds up inside. Little latch right there. This is the original spring latch, although I think the little rubber piece got lost and I stuck something on there like that in its place. But that's the Waltco safety sheath. Now this little knife, I've had this for many, many years. But to be honest with you, I have no idea where I got this knife. It's made by a company called Basic Tools out of Japan. And this is it's folded up. And what happens here is you slide this back like that, and then the knife flips out. You slide this back up, latches it in, and that's your handle. It's got a really nice blade on the knife. Very, very nice. Drop point blade. But it's definitely a unique knife. I've never ran across one exactly like this. I've seen similar ones like that. But see, just flip it over, back in there. Kind of goes its own little box. Now a similar knife is this one here, and this was given away as a trade show or something by ITT Cannon. Okay, and how this knife works is you basically press down on this little lever right here, and then the blade will slide out there and lock in place. And it's locked in there like that. Pretty sure this is where I got that. This was at a trade show. So it's marked ITT Cannon on the thing. So to release it, press down again, blade slides back into its holder like that. Pretty simple little knife. Now, back in the days on the road, we would travel, even when we weren't on the road, we traveled down to Mexico because I lived down in California. And when you travel into Mexico, one of the main things that you want to buy in Mexico are switchblades. So here you go. This is a switchblade right out of Mexico, and this is one of those ones that retracts besides going out. Of course, it's not working too well, that one anymore. I don't think this one does either that well, but that's it. Retracts when you pull it back in there. I don't know what you call them, what kind of switchblades you call those. And of course, what would be a knife collection if you didn't have one Italian switchblade? Again, I think I bought these, or this one here in Mexico at one time. It's a pretty cheap knife. There's a little lock here. Pull the lock back, and then you can press the button and switchblade opened like that. Does the Risotto Stiletto Milano. Okay. Got a cool blade though. I mean, you got to admit these stiletto type knives really are pretty cool. So this one should be cleaned up so I could keep it like that. But yeah, it still works. Still works fine. And here we have another trade show knife. This one given to me by HOSA Technology. And this is a neat little knife. It's got a little blade here, okay, and a bottle opener here, okay. This mainly, I keep this at my bar. It's really made real nicely, and I keep it there for opening bottles. Wine bottles, cutting the thing with the wine bottle, and then opening bottle, you know, any other kind of beer bottles and stuff like that with this. Nice little knife. You know what's interesting about this too is, see how that opens, and with that latch, Ken Onion design. Ken Onion really designed these things, and everybody else made that little latching mechanism after he designed that. Now this knife really dates back. It dates back to when I first started working in electronics at Seneca Sound in Tonawanda. This is Wheelie Electric, and we used to get a lot of parts from them, and they gave us a free knife. And I've had this knife since then. It's now become my landscaping knife. So it sits in my landscaping stuff where I use it to cut hoses, for landscaping stuff like that. But this is actually, you can see it on there, Wheelie Electric. And that's where this knife came from. So this knife is pushing its age, for sure. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It was kind of fun to make because it really brought a lot of things. I mean, I actually even seeing a couple of those knives that I forgot how I got and then suddenly remembered how I got them, that was kind of a cool thing to do. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about the whole thing. It was really cool, cool to do. And that's just a little insight into where the name blades, broadheads, and bullets come from. Someday we'll talk about the other two. All right. Have a nice time. Hit subscribe. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And we'll carry on.
I'm living the good life.